Hello and welcome. My name is Heather Smith, and this is the podcast for accounting technology enthusiasts out there, where we share your features, functionalities, and updates for August, September, and October 24. Hopefully, we shall introduce you to a few products that you've not heard of and leave you with some practical information that you can explore and adopt immediately. Today, I'm joined by Tyler Caskey, technology enthusiast, chartered accountant, and partner at Bean Counters. Tyler also tackles, unravels, and rolls out big change management projects. Welcome back, Tyler. How are you? What have you been up to since we last spoke?
Yeah, hi Heather. It's great to be back here. I'm just landing back from 4 months in Europe and Bali, working on a pretty big HR and payroll rollout across 9 countries. So it's the biggest we've done. But it's been really good to kind of make sure that happened. And I remember the head of HR for our client said to me, "It's so nice to talk to you, not at 7 a.m. or 6 p.m." So that was really good. And I'm back in Sydney, back in Bondi Beach, into the swing of things, and working on much more normal size clients for us.
That's fantastic. And don't you love that about what we do is that it has that global opportunity. So while you're happy to be back, I'm sure you enjoyed your time away.
And how about you, Heather? Like, I know, we're connected on social media. Like you've had some pretty good times, around the world. Like Xerocon Nashville looked really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So to catch you up with what I've been doing, I was recently elected to CAANZ Queensland Regional Council. So
Well
thank you
done.
to everyone who voted for me. And I also was selected to be part of the Airtree Explorers Cohort 8 program, which teaches you about angel investing. So if you do have any interest in that, just Google that and you can apply to be part of the next program. And I was surprised to be selected. Only fewer people are selected. And yes, I went to Xerocon Nashville, and to prove it, I'm putting on a cowboy hat for Tyler to look at. He had a fantastic time in Nashville, and to talk about the technology updates that came out of there. The CEO, Sukhinder Singh Cassidy, put up an investor one page on the screen highlighting the strategic initiatives in a sort of a 3x3 panel. The three core markets, US, UK, and Australia. Notably, Australia was last in that listing. And then three core functionalities: accounting, payroll, and payments. So getting paid and paying your vendors. So that's what she was highlighting, that she's telling the shareholders and the customers and us as partners what they're focused on. Many of the announcements were US-centric, but one of the things they did talk about was enhanced payments. And you now have the ability to have tap to pay on your Android device. So I installed that on my Google Pixel. It took me less time than it did to boil a kettle for a cup of tea. And it means that I can raise an invoice and accept payment right there and then. So that's something to know about.
That one's awesome. Like I cannot wait for a bunch of carpenters or tradies or the little ones like a carpet cleaner, to come in and take payment on their phone, and it's great that Xero's kind of pushing that. Like, not having to walk around with an FPOS machine has just been amazing. Like, I'm a big farmers market person, like everyone else in the eastern suburbs of Bondi, and the change from cash to Square to a little tap has just been awesome to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'd encourage people to test it out and on yourself. And I raised an invoice for 50 cents and tested it out myself. It cost me 25 cents in charges. But anyhow, at least I understand how it works, and you can actually run with that. Now, I was also fortunate to be hosted to attend Oracle SuiteWorld and CloudWorld, which is two separate conferences, 22,000 people. And the solution that the solution that probably our audience are listening in for is what happened in the sort of the NetSuite world, which is the SuiteWorld conference. So let me just list out some of the feature and functionality updates that were released during that time, and let me know if you got any questions about them, which I might be able to answer. So
Nice.
NetSuite Financial Exception Management, which helps organizations detect and mitigate financial risks. Suite Analytics Assistant, which allows users to generate reports using natural language now. So that reporting tool is very good, does lots of customizable reporting and dashboards. The NetSuite Prompt Studio, which enables users to configure AI-generated content to suit their business needs, such as like if you're defining lots of inventory items for selling, you can use AI to sort of populate that intel. AI Suite Script API, which helps connect multiple systems. So having lots of systems, you can connect them together. And Code Assist, which assists developers in writing code. So I've run through them quickly. I'll put it in the blog, but I did want people to be aware of what was out there. I had the great privilege of interviewing a number of people, and one of them who was sort of the leader in their AI development said, the next big innovation that's going to come out of that world is going to come from an external party plugging in and using their tools to create something. So that was kind of exciting.
I've heard that too. I heard a sentence that Sage across their global thing have been investing in AI since like 2014. So they've been doing like 10 years of internal AI stuff. But then, I'm really interested in businesses, like expert that are connecting, like AI specialists connecting to a whole bunch of other products too. Like, what did you think about the NetSuite or NetWorld kind of thing? Because I'm, like I've worked in NetSuite businesses. I've installed it, once or twice, scoped it probably like, or it's been in our scoping steps many times. I've always had a bit of a pain point with the basics of like NetSuite, like bank recs, but now they're starting to get really cool things like auto matching in their bank recs. You and I have talked about Netcash or through NetGain that does that. How are you seeing NetSuite positioned in the market? Are they gaining traction?
It seems to be, it's that mid-market product. Okay, so NetSuite is sitting at that mid-market product when you're outgrowing sort of the general ledger solutions that are there, and they're very excited about their the AI that they're rolling out, and I guess it's going to be more people are aware of how fast the smaller solutions work, so they're having to catch up because people are moving from the GLs that we're familiar with, the zeros or the QuickBooks into that solution. And so they're expecting that sort of speed around. It's, as you said, at reconciliation. The companies that I was speaking to, all the companies I was speaking to, huge. So it's quite exciting how they can grow on them.
Yeah, I like it. Multi-currency, multi-language, all that type of stuff. Like, and it's famous thing, Xero uses NetSuite for their internal business.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone I met really was passionate about it. They were really passionate about the software. That's always a good thing, I think, as well. So both the staff and the users. But I guess they're going to a conference, but they were. And also, I was at the Accounting and Business Show in Asia. So that's one of my favorite conferences. That's in Singapore. While it's based in Singapore, it has representatives from probably about 100 countries coming in. So it most definitely covers the whole of the Asian region and beyond. Held at Marina Bay Sands in Singapore. You'll know it if you can think about it, the architectural landmark with 3 towers and sort of this massive boat shape across the top. In terms of technology, Carbon was the only practice management solution there. Flowcast was one of the only reporting solutions I saw there, and that's actually a US-based reporting solution, so it's kind of cool to see them there. Malaysia is mandating e-invoicing. So the first stages of e-invoicing implementation begins in August 24, mandatory for taxpayers with an annual turnover or revenue of more than 100 million ringgit. So that's Australian $33.25 million. And it's believed that this will be mirrored in Singapore and then other countries. And the reason I say that is because that is digital adoption being forced out by the government, which will see more happening in that region. So it
Yeah.
is really quite significant that, and where our apps will go and where we can go with them.
Yeah, I agree. And like even today, I got an email from Xero saying, "Hey, you're about to be registered for e-invoicing for this ABN. You know, good luck." So, as it's we're moving. You know, the whole market is moving, and I'm so amazed at like what detail now comes on bank statements as well regarding vendors as well. Like OFX pulls through summary data from what a cafe is. You know, my local cafe says Colombian, great coffee kind of thing. So it's
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Wow.
it's moving. It's moving.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, what would you like to move to next? Maybe we talk about the general ledgers. Is there something there in the Xero updates that you'd like to touch on?
Yeah, I'm being really interested in like the new invoicing, and I know we've talked about it every single time, but Xero started to get this humming. It's been a journey, and I've talked to their product team. I know you have too, but I'm starting to see the benefits of this invoicing, and I'm really starting to see the benefits of the payment functions. So they've just got really good connections to like GPay and Apple Pay and these types of things, and it's that to me has been one of the best movements Xero's done. They're focusing on not just getting an invoice, but like making sure it's easy to be paid and even putting summaries of the invoice in the email. So, there's some pros and cons of that, but like, I know it's been, it's probably been a 6-month process for them, but like I'm very happy to, I can hand on heart say it's better than what it was now, which is really good.
Yeah, no, it is good. And I think it will flip and everyone will be forced onto it in November. So we will see how it goes. The reason
Yeah.
it was coming in is so it can offer additional functionality, but there has been some frustration, as you touched on.
Mm.
Now, what about the SIFT news from Xero?
Yeah, this one's big. Like SIFT, for anyone that doesn't know it, a really good reporting package out of South Africa. It's very intuitive. It's got consolidations, and it's got like really strong reporting. We've got a large client with 25 zeros, using it and loving it. And I think it's a really good addition for Xero. So I'm interested to see how deep the functionality goes. Whether they integrate, it's an add-on. Whether it's Xero branded, that type of stuff, because it's the market for increased financial reporting and flexibility and board level reporting, actuals versus budget versus forecast is something SIFT does kind of like really, really well. So for me, I think it's a really good purchase by Xero.
Mm. I predict it will be something that you have to pay an addition for because there's so many in that category that it would be cruel almost to them to say, well, you're no longer needed. So it will be interesting to see how they roll that out because there is a lot of solutions in that category. But the more we have, the more we can sort of shift into what I am a management accountant, but the advisory and surfacing the data because it's all about the data.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Intuit. So Intuit did a big release, which was Intuit Enterprise Suite. So that's sort of an ERP kind of level solution there that there has been a lot of talk about. And also spreadsheet sync.
Yeah. I'm interested in where QBO or QuickBooks and Intuit are moving into this market. Like the online product's good. I still think it's maybe a little clunky. I don't love the UI, but like it really, really works. And they've got such a huge market in America. I think it's going to start to get a lot more traction back here in Australia. And I was a QuickBooks installer from like 2001 to 2010 religiously. Like it was the best product, right? Like it kind of was, until I saw some competitors.
And that would have been a desktop solution back in 2001.
Yeah, it was, like it was functional, it worked, it made it balanced, which was really good. But, I keep hearing people talking about spreadsheet sync and all these types of things. And it's nice to see that they're doing, multi-entity access, and you can kind of try to get like a group view of the business, and I like it. I think they've also got a pretty good general ledger in there for accountants and some financial statements, so like I do think QuickBooks is going to be a real competitor in the Australian market for a long time, and they're just dominating America.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Dominating. It's 90+% share in America.
Mm.
And for people listening in, Spreadsheet Sync is what we used to call Datadeer, and Datadeer, but built by Scope Solutions out in Malta.
What does it do? Like, like the head of like, customer service at Intuit asked me the other day. He was like, "Have you checked out Spreadsheet Sync? Like, what does it data there do in a summary?
It allows you to pull all the data down, typically a lot more data than you could actually go into any area and just export via sort of to CSV. It allows you to bring it all down, all different types of data down. It allows you to have templates.
Mm-hmm.
And it allows you to then push data back in. So it could be putting lots more detail into an invoice, or it could be taking the details from a manual point of sale system and uploading that into invoices, which can be quite complex.
Got it. I love Excel. Like I'm in it every single day, but I just get so nervous.
Every accountant loves X or spreadsheets. I'll call it spreadsheets, but
yeah. I'm still pretty good at formulas. Like, my team made me learn X lookups and all that fun stuff, right? But like, I still get nervous with financial reporting moving into Excel because it's so easily manipulated. So I'm a big fan of staying in that, but that's part of the fun. But the next one I'm really keen to talk about is the MYOB connection with Silverfin. Silverfin, the reporting system in America, and they've signed a partnership to be, fully implemented in 2025. What did you hear about that over the last couple of months?
Well, it's been interesting because they also had what's it over in the UK? Visma snapped up Silverfin in a Euro deal. So it's interesting that there's a lot happening in that arena. And from what I understood back in January, they were targeting work papers, and they were targeting sort of that bookkeeping area. So it will be interesting to see if they can land it in Australia.
Yeah, and MyOb, still has a pretty good client base for the accounting firms.
Yeah, still a massive, yeah.
In Australia. And I think this is helping them move to the cloud. Like most people are on MyOb AE for practice management, MyOb MAS for financial statements, both desktop products. And, they've got now MyOb Practice Manager, which is the rebranded GreatSoft. And this allows them, financial statement preparation out of MyOb Practice Manager, and they have released their MyOb individual tax returns, but they're yet to release, companies, trusts, and partnerships. So it's it's the step in the right direction. It's time-wise, it's maybe a little bit behind the market, but like, better late than never, I think, is the play. And, from everything I've read on Silverfin, it's a pretty reliable, good financial statement product. So, that's if people are on GreatSoft and moving that, on that product, it could be a very good add-on next year.
I didn't realize that GreatSoft had renamed itself to MYOB Practice Manager.
Yeah, it's really tricky, this market. MyOb are talking about two products. They've got MyOb Acumatica.
Yes, Acumatica, yeah.
And then they've got MyOb Practice Manager, which is the old GreatSoft. And, both are cloud products. One's for, Acumatica's for like multi-entities really, but it's, it's an ERP, I know Planet Fitness Australia is on MyOb Acumatica, and they do buying and selling of gym equipment, where there's a whole bunch of practices, using GreatSoft, and that's now rebranded in Australia.
There you go. And because I'd never heard of Acumatica, but apparently it's quite big in the US as well.
Yeah,
So, they're actually having their conferences in the US, which MYOB are welcome to invite us over if they want to.
I love it.
In February, I think it is.
During the NBA playoffs would be my preferred time for that conference.
I don't know when that happens,
Yeah,
but well, we'll see if we can line something up, see if we can get some hosting happening there for you.
awesome.
Now, I'm a Google fangirl. So there's a few things that have been released in the Google Suite. Transcriptions are now available in voice messages within Google Chat. So you jump into Google Chat, which is kind of like WhatsApp sitting in Google, and you can put in a voice message and then it transcribes it and it's rolling out. So you might not have it yet, but it's rolling out. You can automate recording and transcripts and notes for your Google Meet meetings. So if you are using something like Otter or Firefly or Zoom, you could actually move across to Google Meetings.
I like that. That's just good. Like Google Meet is so agnostic. Like yesterday I was working with a financial controller, and she's a Mac user and I'm a Teams user. So I didn't know what she was on. I sent her a Teams invite and, I switched us over to Google Meet so she could share a screen much more easily.
Won't Teams work in Mac?
It works, but it's really hard to share a screen. I mean, you can do it. You just need to allow permissions, but trying to do setting permissions on a screen share just loses flow. So I was just like, let's jump in. And honestly, Google Meet's like, I reckon they're going to win like long term because they're cheap, they're free, and they're like, it just pushes people into this market space, like they're getting so much traction. So many businesses outside of professional services are going with, Google emails and Gmails and Google Sheets because they're becoming their cloud, they're multi-users. They're doing great.
Yeah. I have both platforms working simultaneously,
Yeah.
so I can test it for clients. However, as you said, Teams is very corporate. Google, it's casual. It suits who I am. So, yes.
Yeah.
So let's jump into practice tools. Which one would you like to tackle and talk about first?
Oh, this one's cool. And I know you've stayed tight with ShareSite, and I'm really interested in businesses that make investing easier. Like I'm a huge superhero fan, that it's an app that helps you invest. You can either use your super or your own funds. ShareSite's a really good, kind of website. Like what did you see, or like, how did you come across ShareSite?
I've done them since the beginning of time, beginning of when they launched. And what I will highlight about ShareSite is I think you can get a couple of listings on there for free, so you can actually test it out. And the second one is if you are into investing, you can subscribe to their newsletter and it gives you sort of the top 10 trades in different markets every month. So you've got that intel that they're sort of able to produce. So when you are investing, you want as much intel, agnostic intel.
Yeah, and like I'm always for the reduction in complexity. Like the amount of computer share forms I've filled out and sent for clients, or seen, as part of like year-end financials, like we've just taken leaps and bounds from where we've, previously been. Even 10 years ago for investing is really good. I still think there's a really big hole in the investment market and how it captures into financial statements. Like we're really just capturing the end financials, but, like the ATO is super connected to crypto at the moment. And, the ATO is getting closer and closer with, payments like Square, and one of my friends is an osteopath, and he has like Square automatically sends data into his ATO individual tax return, right? Because which is super interesting. And so I think we've got like a big leap happening in the market of how share data comes into financial statements for year-end return, and also like grouping for like investment analysis. And I think products like this are what we need to look at.
Yeah, absolutely. And for very much so the end user, not the accountant, but the end user can manage a lot of it and actually be aware on a timely basis of what actually is happening in their own share portfolio.
Yeah,
I
I
know
agree.
for BGL also does the management of self-managed super funds. And I am not a self-managed super fund accountant, but own one, and I can go in and see my side of it. So my personal side of that, which I think a lot of people just don't look at that stuff on a personal level until the end of the year. But with using as an accountant, encouraging someone to use ShareSite or to use those the BGL super managed fund, it empowers them. And that's what a lot of what we're trying to do is empower people and businesses.
Yeah, like if you're thinking of a group, so many owners will say, tell me what on a monthly basis, how well is my group going? How much assets have we got? What's our liquidity? What's our profit position? Yada yada. There are still a huge bunch, a big development opportunity in that individual market. Of personal wealth. And there's a few products that are kind of doing it, like My Prosperity connects pretty well to Xero for those types of things. And there's another one coming out of London, I think Northern England, and their biggest clients, I think KPMG UK. So they're trying to launch in Australia as well for like family office wealth management and that type of stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I had a chat with them a couple of months ago when I was in the UK, and it's an evolving moment because there's so much stickiness of data between investing and the end result.
And it's all about the data. It's all about the data.
Should we talk Stripe, or do you want to do Jetpack?
Yep. No, jump to Stripe.
I'm so interested in this. Like, Stripe is like absolutely just doing leaps and bounds, in my opinion, in like global markets. Like, they are connecting to almost every single app, every single product I'm using. They're a high price business, but they're starting to do movements on their fees, which is quite cool. I think I saw typically international transactions for cards were like 3%. I think I saw something that's moving down to like 2.6%, for instant bank payments, depending on the countries and these types of things. And it's, I don't know, like, I think there's a big issue in the world around payment fees, and they're kind of like getting larger and larger. But I like the flexibility that Stripe does for international payments. Like, where do you sit on the fence on this one, Heather?
Interestingly, after being in Singapore, there's no additional fees. You grab something and you pay for it, and that's it. So I was like, oh, this is what Australia used to be like.
Yeah.
But that's fine as long as the fees are transparent. And one of the things that's happened to all Xero users, and I don't know if it's happened to others, is I think Xero did some sort of relationship with Stripe. And so suddenly I have 2 Stripe accounts in my dashboard. Yeah, so one's doing one thing and the other one's doing another thing, and I'm like, oh, okay, now I've got 2 Stripe accounts.
Yeah.
It was forced, I believe, upon us. I'm sure I'll get corrected if I'm wrong about that. The other thing I would say is on my invoices that go out, the opportunity to pay by Stripe is surfaced very highly. And so I always kind of write in the text, save us both money and just pay into my bank account directly, just to highlight that that's an option there. But I think with these as well, you do get the option to push the payment out as well, that interest charge out.
Yeah, you definitely do. And systems like, I know we're going to talk about pinch payments later, but on billing the service charge to clients is good, especially if it's a large invoice. But what I really read from Stripe's update is they are just growing massively. And I think it's because of safety. Like, the verification of who you are and how you pay has been super interesting. Like, if I think about PayPal, if you buy something on PayPal through a website, and I'm waiting on 2 pairs of shorts from America right now, and I'm getting absolutely no response, but I paid on PayPal. So I know that if they don't show up, I'm just going to click go get the refund, and PayPal will shoot that like in 5 days. Like, that's where I think Stripe's going. We're getting to much more security around personal payments. And this is so important when it comes to large international retail and e-commerce and that type of stuff, because the risks are just too high. Like I've sent $300 out for a barbecue that didn't show up once, and it still burns my brain, you know? So part of the fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just moving more and more and more into e-commerce, so the more security we get there. Did you get the $300 back, or was it?
No, I
on
didn't.
another?
I didn't. I made the mistake as a youngin sending to a bank account rather than paying on card, so I never got it back.
Right.
Yeah, but you live and learn, right? You do it once. One of
You
my
do.
friends did it for $72,000 to Singapore. So at least I wasn't that number.
No, absolutely. Let's talk about pinch payments.
Yeah. I've been testing pinch payments a lot lately with the client, and that product is good. Like, there are two native functions within Xero, which are Stripe payments, which you can on-charge the fees and go cardless for direct debits. And, you can use Stripe for recurring invoices as well. But one of our membership businesses that we helped install a few systems for, just went with Pinch. And the integration has been incredibly smooth. But what I've been really, really amazed by is at how seamless the user interface is for the person sending the invoices out and collecting the funds, but also for like the clients. So the clients get their own, dashboard of what's paid, what's not. They've got history. All the invoices from Xero push into Pinch. They can pay now. They can have multiple credit cards or multiple cards or bank accounts that they can pay from. It's only 0.2% more expensive than, say, Stripe. And it's $1 capped more expensive than Go Cardless. Go Cardless is $4 capped, Pinch is $5 capped. But to be able to combine them both into one and have all their functionality, like I've been really amazed at this product. The only thing it doesn't do is BPay. I think Pay Advantage does that, but I think BPay slowly I don't know. When ATO stops using BPay, I'll probably stop using BPay as well.
So Pinch Payments is founded by Ben and Paul from Australia. And I keep promising them that I'm going to try it out. I just haven't had capacity, but I will promise again that I will try it out before the end of the year and get it set up on my own accounts. But it's actually always like supporting a local product like they are. And they're also sponsoring our local Brisbane drinks event. So you can come up to Brisbane and meet them.
I can't recommend it enough. Like making payments easy for members, making payments easy for clients is, yes, it gets you paid earlier, but like it just removes pain. Like it's so, ABA, the risk of a typo is still annoying, right? Like connecting these things together is such a win. As long as it doesn't cost too much. That's why I like that they've got a cap on direct debits, which is really good.
Yeah. And with that, when you pay for it, you are getting Aussie support with them. So you're getting to actually connect with real people, which in the same time zone as us, which again is important.
Yeah. Should we do a niche one? Should we do the CAS 360s?
Yeah. Yes, you go for that.
That one's awesome to kind of read. They've got like company.
Explain what CAS 360 is initially for people who are listening in.
Yeah, good call. So CAS 360 is used by accounting firms, and it helps manage like all the
asset compliance.
Asset compliance, and just making sure that data is like connected between your practice management system, and you don't forget to renew any of these types of things. And it's a very manual process with inside accounting firms. So if there's any accounting firm owners listening and you're not using like Now Infinity or CAS 360, grab one of them, and they just streamline everything. But what CAS 360 has started to do is just take really good steps of innovation, and they've done awesome one now, like the one I love, and I've been stung by this as a partner in the past in the tax and compliance business in 2020, is they've done reminders if something's overdue or there's a multiple debt, right? So if there's a fee. So instead of being surprised by, this invoice has, a late payment fee or something, it's starting to pull that data into their system. So like your, ASIC manager can read it and look at it. That to me is just little innovation that improves the service accounting firms can give to clients.
Oh, absolutely. And if they are doing it on a manual basis, moving to something like that is going to save them a massive amount of time.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
and they might, as you said, they may not even be aware that that solution exists. Sometimes you just got to pop your head up from the overwhelm and ask.
Yeah. Yeah. And they do really cool things. Like, I know if you connect it to like your Xero Practice Manager or whatever, it will tell you if there's a discrepancy between the address you have on the system versus the address they have in ASIC. And then it gives you like, things to resolve, even down to like director details. So it just helps keep your client database really clean.
Mm. I've never played with it at that level. There, I didn't know that you even worked at that level.
I've gone deep in like tax and compliance setups at some of my old businesses.
Fantastic. What should we jump to now?
I'm interested in Expert and Free Agent.
So Expert is the data auditing tool, and they've announced an AI-driven integration.
Yeah, and Free Agent is like a cheap and cheerful accounting system out of UK for agencies. I think it's $22 or like $11 or $22 at full subscription per month. And, agencies don't, or like, I suppose if you're a sole trader and you just need to keep hold of your books and send good invoices, that's got like you've got a need for not a full, accounting system. Sometimes you don't need inventory, those types of things. And so it's like a cut down version of like my QuickBooks and Xero, which I think's needed in the market. And then Expert's just like reading all this data, looking for inaccuracies. And why I like this and like why I put it in like, let's definitely talk about this, is the amount of inaccuracies that happen in financial statement codings from sole traders is the highest of any of the markets, right? Like a bookkeeper will usually, probably get about 19 out of 20 bang on, right? Really good bookkeepers are 99 out of 100. And, but a sole trader will just take a little bit, more time to get things accurate. They might not change, code their VAT or GST correctly. They're not using general ledger codes right. And a good example is I've had a whole bunch of sole traders code, money they've taken out of the business, like drawings, as expenses. And I'm like, no, that's not how this works, right? So, just little things to help make that more efficient and review issues is what I'm a fan of.
Yeah, and a lot of people are asking for those smaller solutions these days, aren't they? They're saying, those smaller solutions. And you will remember from the olden days, we used to have MYOB Business Basics. It was $30. Yeah. It was like, I did so much for the smaller businesses. When there's nothing like that at the moment. So maybe they need to come back into into Australia. So Account Kit. Should we talk about Account Kit?
Yeah, I love Account Kit. Account Kit, again, is for accounting firms that helps them do some really special accounting needs. It does Div 7A loan calculations. It does lease calculations. It does some level of intercompany balancing. Maybe not at like the Mayday or translucent level, but like, really good on the one-for-one or in the accounting firm market. But they've got some awesome things now about like tasks and timesheets. So you can now do timesheets inside Account Kit, which push to like Xero Practice Manager. So if you're a Xero Practice Manager business, I think you can do timesheets within there. And then also they've got really smart things on tasks. So they're like their workflow of tasks in Account Kit. I saw it a couple months ago. It's gorgeous. Like it's color coded. It's Kanban kind of flow. And the way, if I'm a manager running, some managers can be running 100 to 150 to even 200 jobs at busy season. Having a visual board of that, I think, is so good. And I haven't seen a product probably do that nicer than Account Kit.
Oh, another founder called Paul.
Yeah.
Based out of Adelaide. He will be very happy to hear that. The timesheets, are they staff and do they push into payroll? Are you aware?
No, I don't think they do. I don't think they do. I think they only go into XPM.
Yeah.
And I think I know why is because most accountants are full-timers and yeah, we're like,
Yes.
I will say like I pay my team for overtime, like they're all casual employees now. So if they work a 15-hour day, they get paid 15 hours. Any other accounting firm partners that want to do that, dear Lord, please do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But we don't want them working 15-hour days.
No, I know. We do projects, so sometimes it happens, but I just want to make sure everyone gets. I always want to make sure people get fair reward for the hours they work.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Now, should we jump into our ecosystem tools there?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. The Approval Max one. What did you see there?
Fantastic. So there's a number of things. Approval Max has released a number of things. One of them is review steps for QuickBooks Online. One of them is the ability to push comments into Xero and the ability to speed up your workflows by allowing bulk edits, clones, or removal of zero-line items. So Approval Max is sort of the robust, multi-level, multi-layered approval solution for payments, and so there's a number of things there that it's assisting with.
That one's awesome. Like the comments into Xero is like awesome. Like we've always had attachments coming through, but now having like there's an unused comment box in the bottom of Xero. QuickBooks Online's got it as well. And just having like notes, like manager notes coming through is just so good for like audit trail. I'm seeing a huge uplift in audit trail and visibility, in the mid-market because of cloud computing. And I love it. But the bulk actions one is awesome. It's kind of like similar to like find and recode, but you can, a good example is I've got team members in my team that might code transactions to the wrong code. Like they might do travel instead of office expenses or whatever it is. And being able to code those, if it was, because Approval Max bills are often loaded by bookkeepers, non-accountants. And so they might be guessing those codes wrong. So that's been really good.
Fantastic. So well done, Approval Max. Zapier announced enhanced reporting and analytics. I went and jumped into mine, and it really hadn't changed that much, but there were some charts and some graphs there. And it could tell me very quickly how many zaps I have going, which is 8 different zaps. And I automated 251 tasks last month. But
Wow. I do love Zapier. For almost 1 out of every 5 of our integration projects, we will be testing Zapier. We've only installed it in one as our play, but I love it. I think it's great.
It is intriguing. It always interests me what is possible.
Yeah, or not possible though. Sometimes, I feel like it does 8 out of 10 of the things I want it to do. Then it misses the 2, and I'm like, oh, you're so close.
Yeah, absolutely. So next one to talk about is Caskey, which starts with an H, and that's a company founded by Alison Hardacre, who she came and spoke at an event I ran probably almost a decade ago. So great to see that that's sort of still around. It's healthcare tech, and it's had a number of updates, including the ability to bulk SMS, customized reports, flexible customized reports, and it now includes more payment integrations, which we know you like, Tyler. So more payment integrations, faster, easier payments. And I think as an accountant, it's good to be aware these solutions are out there. If you are dealing with people, say, hey, go and have a look at this. This might make things easier for us.
Oh, absolutely. And the healthcare market, like I was a CFO in the recruitment of healthcare professionals for a couple of years. The healthcare market is not a decade. It's about 6 or 7 years behind the rest of the world in like internal tech. And it's really hard. Like it's really, really hard for them. So to see products like that are cloud-based, that have really good integrations, that have monthly packages, that have quick installs, that, are well priced and scale as you grow, is just such a difference from what has previously been in the past. So, it's good because the doctors and the specialists, they've had hard times with bookings and then bookings into billings and then billings into integration to accounting. So it's great to see.
Yeah, no, it is great to see. I know that I spent a week in a hospital with my father, and the tech in the canteen was so much more advanced than the tech in the hospital, and it was just you're just sitting there feeling very helpless if that's the sort of technology situation of a medical area.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my trucking, which I believe is based out of New Zealand, has had new enhancements in terms of it offers facial recognition on the actual mobile app, and it allows you to switch between profiles, so you can easily switch on the app between profiles. So they just keep trucking along my trucking. I remember standing next to them on a booth, I think in 2014. Lovely people. And obviously serving that need in that trucking industry.
Good to see it. Like the logistics market has been, again, similar to healthcare, has been underdone in technology. We've done a few Power BI projects for logistics, and it's very hard for them. They have, during lockdowns and COVID, it was one of the most wild logistics times I've ever seen. The ones that survived that and stood strong, do have a bit of a hold on the market, but it's great to see some cloud-based products for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Should we skip to A2X?
Oh yeah, this one's been a not a bugbear of my life, but for 4 years I've been working with a couple large retail clients in Australia and one overseas, and the integration of Shopify into accounting just boggles my mind. It absolutely boggles my mind. And systems like A2X and Parex are really good at like consolidating information and putting it into the accounting system, see, on a daily sweep. I was literally working on this morning because not one of our clients, but I talked to a business yesterday, like large business, like $50 million, and they'd broken their accounting system. They'd put through 190,000 contacts. They were putting through 11,000 invoices a month, but they didn't need that data in their accounting system because it's just all Shopify, random client data. They don't need line by line data in there. So systems like A2X consolidate all that data, keep all that information in Shopify, and then push it through for, financial statement reconciliation. So this, to me, the way these businesses are improving, I think, is a huge win for retail business. And if you're a retail business accountant, or you've got like a small Shopify store, dear Lord, look at A2X or Parex. And make sure your inventory system's doing daily integrations, not line by line or sale by sale integrations.
So when you say retail, do you mean e-commerce retail?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I am. Because retail's always had this, right? Like retail always had the end of the day sales,
Yes.
So we had 365 receipts or 250 receipts, where online
And the
is
shop
now,
till.
exactly.
The shop till at the end of the day.
Yeah. And so moving those e-commerce businesses into daily sweeps, is a really important function for the sustainability of their financial packages.
Yeah. And probably anyone who's out there thinks that you can just grab Shopify, grab a general ledger solution and plug them together. But this is a solution that sort of sits between them and pushes everything into the right area. So you mentioned A2X, which is literally those three, was it 2 letters and a number?
Yep.
You also mentioned Parex, which when you Google it is also called Parex Bridge, which is with an X.
Yep.
And there's also Cinder out there, which is like Cinderella, Cinder. Yeah. So I think I just wanted to make sure people got those solutions there. But I'm sure there's so many people who start out there, Shopify, GL, and they break the system.
Yeah. And it doesn't take long. Like, if you throw, you might get 1,000 transactions of, $10. It doesn't take that long until you can break like a general ledger system. And just think, you just don't need that amount of data into your finance system. So, keep the data where it's most sensible, which is probably in Shopify.
And that's such an important point. don't put data in that you don't need in there. Just keep it out, and just push summaries in.
Mm. Yeah, agreed. What's next on yours? I'm thinking Employment Hero has got some really interesting workflows and auto approve of timesheets.
Go for it.
That one for me is like cool. So Elmo has forever had custom workflows. So you could onboard like a cleaner different than maybe the way you onboarded like your security guard, different certifications, different learning journeys, those types of things. And Employment Hero has released that now. So it's kind of jumping into the larger market. Employment Hero always used to be a single channel, of onboarding, which was super reliable for payroll. But now they're adding a little bit of customization, which I love, but I also don't love. Like I love to see it, but like more customization allows for more errors. But there's a really cool one there about auto approved timesheets. That means the payroll team don't need to bring in a import timesheets into the pay run. They just automatically come into the pay run, which is it's another 1% into automatic payroll, which is, kind of where we're going in the next 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of these workforce management solutions, you mentioned Elmo. Are you suggesting, Elmo always makes me laugh. Such a sweet name. Are you suggesting that that is for the bigger end of town?
Yeah, Elmo's sweet spot is like 100 to 2,000 is their play.
There you go.
Employment Hero's minimum is 10. I always recommend any business 20 and over should be looking at Employment Hero. It's just such a reliable payroll system, especially if they've got awards as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you also mentioned about the Elmo Partner Program. Was there anything there that I need to talk about?
Yeah, they've just released it. They've released an Elmo Partner Program, and they're kind of trying to get into the market a little bit more. They've got a pretty good product. It's surprising they use Employment Hero Payroll as one of their payroll engines, but it's just this the way the world works. But they've got a good partner program. They've got it's a much larger system. So large businesses, Elmo's customizable learning journeys, HR core, and payrolls. It's a pretty good product, but it's not bad.
Very good, very good. Thank you for sharing that. Now, should we jump to just one more piece of information there, and then we'll jump across to funding because we wanted to talk about that.
Please.
So I did want to highlight that Xerocon, which is the Google Sheets solution that syncs with your GL solutions, now has a customer portal, which makes it easier to control who can use the Xerocon services within your team or within your organization. So they're always bringing out some interesting things there. Another quick highlight, if anyone jumped into their Canva program, and I know we're accounting, but you can actually push your reports into Canva and produce beautiful graphical reports. They actually have a line across the top at the moment which says, after listening to community feedback, we decided not to change your Canva Teams plan price, which if you were sitting in all the graphical Facebook groups, they were going insane about the pricing. But how awesome that they listened to their customer feedback and did something about that. So kudos to them. For me personally, I could probably sit on a free plan, but I'm happy to support Melanie Perkins and the innovation that she's doing there and have a pay plan with Canva. I was happy to pay for whatever plan she wanted to put me on. I think it's a great
Canva's awesome. My logo's from Canva. Like it's great. Our business cards are from Canva. It's a lovely product. And Xerocon, I have heard that name every 2 weeks for the last 6 months. It is for Google Sheet businesses that want to rip data and manipulate it. It's the market leader, I think. One of my friends who runs a little financial controller business out of Bali, it's all he uses for financial reporting.
Oh, I think I'll need to go over and interview him then.
Yeah, he'll say yes. He's a great guy.
Fantastic. I don't think we've touched on this before, but we wanted to talk about funding because when solutions receive funding, it normally means that they're going to do something with it, maybe bring out some new features and functionalities. So would you like to jump in there and sort of highlight which of the fundings that have come through?
Yeah, there's been some interesting moves in the market around how businesses and apps get funded. And I'm starting with like Released. It's got a 12.5 million US kind of introduction. And then the other one I'm interested in is the Project Works, which got a $5 million capital raise. And I like that business. It's out in New Zealand. I've got a couple of clients that have used it as well. But those, I've just seen the more funding some of these businesses get, like it just really enables long-term consistent innovation of their product.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's really like it's a bet that they can keep making the product better. So to me, funding is like a really good thing. It doesn't suggest anything negative. What are you interested in? Like, I know Release pretty well.
So, Released is founded by Adam Wallace, based out of Wellington. I think he was inspired by Rod Drury in New Zealand, and it's a great solution for management of a shopping centre, all the different leases on a shopping centre. As an example, it can do other things, but they're just blowing up with what their offerings. And I know that when we were dealing with them, we would ask for something, and the next day they would bring it out. So great solution for that. You also mentioned.
Sorry, Heather. They do real estate companies, I think, too, right? Like.
Yes,
yeah. Like one of my friends' real estate companies here in Sydney uses Released, and he loves it. Like he's the COO. It's his favorite system. I should look at it more, I think.
Yeah. It does everything you think it should do, and you're like, oh, I can just put this rates bill in, and it's going to divide it across everyone automatically, or I can put a lease in, and it's going to suck out the information and let them know when the lease is going to increase by CPI, or when I need to jump in and do a manual increase, because lease agreements have lots and lots of information in them, and you can surface it all. And so it's just like so much stress relief, because if you have a shopping centre with like 100 different shops in it, that's a lot of leases that you're navigating.
Yeah.
And it just takes that, oh my God, I'm waking up in the middle of the night and I've realised that I didn't put that one in correctly and I need to do something about it. Or I've forgotten that it wasn't CPI increase this time. It was I could manually go in and increase it more this time.
Yeah. And it's got trust accounting built in as well, which
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just on their website now, and I know my friend uses it for trust accounting too, and he, I don't know if it's got bank feeds or not, but I'm going to assume it probably does because it's a cloud-based one. But it's cool to see that type of market, happening in that market, because I used to work with CBRE quite a lot back in my law firm days, and I say this with respect, but working with their finance team, like I felt sorry for them. I wanted to give them a hug because they were just drowning in 3 different like finance systems and trust accounting systems. And so, yeah, it's good to see, you find sometimes this mid-market is actually making bigger gains and doing things a little bit better than, the top end of town.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very exciting when you tap into. My dog just arrived. That was one. You tap into, and they offer that. I also want to mention that ProjectWorks is a professional services management solution that we talked about before. So you could actually roll out across your accounting business, or your consulting business, or maybe an architectural firm, that sort of, or a legal firm, that sort of business. Okay,
it's a great product. It's got some of the best capacity management and project management I've seen. It's a real competitor to Scoro in that kind of mid market. It's kind of like Workflow Max, but maybe a little bit more advanced. Probably best way to put it. But yeah, it's really cool, and it's the only product that pushes leave requests into Xero Payroll. So it's not only timesheet integrated, it's leave request integrated into Xero Payroll.
That's impressive. Excellent. So another one that happened was the Access Group has entered into an agreement to acquire Tradeify. I think it's selling the firm for $100 million. So Access Group is a UK firm, business group, and they now have changed GPS, Fathom, Tradeify, and Lightyear.io, as well as many, many other solutions. But
yeah, And Tradeify is so well rated on the App Store, like for tradies. It's such a. I've heard it's like one of the most loved products. I've never touched it or used it, but like I'm super interested to see, you know, the trajectory of this. Like it's got 170 ratings, and it's as close to 5 stars as you can possibly get, like 4.7. But yeah,
I don't think it works on an Android device, so it'll be interesting.
Ooh,
I don't think it does. I might be wrong,
yeah.
but yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, like
Um,
electrical, gas, property maintenance, plumbing, that type of stuff. Mm.
yeah, but one happy tradie there.
Yeah.
So one more that we'll mention, and this is a company that not a lot of people have heard of, which is Apron. And they've raised $30 million. I wonder if it's actually, it might be 30 million sterling, actually. I'm sure that's probably, or it may be US, 30,
Yeah, I think it's US. Yeah.
30 million US. They are a receipt capture solution. Okay, I won't mention other ones that are similar in that genre. But in the UK, they're going in very cheap to get existing customers across to them. So that will be interesting. I think that they're rolling out here in Australia and beyond. So that's one potentially to look at for that sort of area.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. It's good to see, any movement in that market, the better.
Fantastic. So, like we are at time, but I'm gonna we'll go over a bit longer. What are some apps that you've tested lately, Tyler? Because I know everyone's probably keen to find out what you've tested lately,
Yeah.
that you've liked.
Yeah, we've had a really active last quarter. A whole bunch of clients have been looking at and trying to solve some interesting solutions, and then there's been some really interesting introductions into the Australian market. And the one I'm most interested in is Revolut. So Revolut's like the largest point of sale kind of in Europe. Like I was in 4 or 5 countries in Europe because when the payroll was being rolled out, and so many places like just said, "Hey, we use Revolut, for like FPOS kind of transfers, and for point of sale, like Lightspeed's clearly the number 2 there, if not number 1." But they have launched into Australia as a competitor to Wheel, as a competitor to Airwallex, OFX Patron, and Spendly. And it's a good product. Like their setup's really nice. It's got I reckon it's got a ton of money because of how large they are. So it's cool to see them make this move.
So I think it's interesting to I think only recently they've been treated as a bank in the UK. Prior to that, I don't know what you call it, but weren't actually a bank, and then under
Yep.
all the compliance requirements of a bank. So I will put a link into the notes that a very good friend of mine had a scam happened on her Revolut card, and they hit it. I think it was like 40 times for 1,000 sterling pounds. So she ended up losing $53,000 on it. So it's always with these things, make sure you understand the banking infrastructure behind it and the security behind it, and be scam aware. Like with everything,
Yeah.
be scam aware. These things are challenging, but yeah.
Absolutely. Like OFX, Airwallex, and Revolut, like they're all dabbling into what banks do now. Like it's, I was talking to a US retailer yesterday, and they just do all their funding, all their receipting into Airwallex. So it's where the market's going. So we've just got to make sure that like it's safe money.
Absolutely. And talking about Airwallex, they've just I think rolled out subscription on all of their plans if you're not hitting a certain level,
They
which
sure have.
for as partners, we had a platform and there was no subscription. I think it's hitting us at $29 a month.
Correct. But they do something cool there. You can do for $99, I think you can do 25 cards, which works out really, really cheap. Or you can leave $10 in their yield account, and sorry, not $10, $10,000 in their yield account, and get on the free plan. So, and their yield account does return interest at like 3.8% or something. Not as good as say like Macquarie Business at 4.65, but it's fine. There are two others, like I'll mention on the apps we've tested. We looked at Hemisphere, which is, a large reporting product out of Belgium, and it's phenomenal. Like, it's phenomenal. It does everything. It's high priced, but for single or multi entities that want a really high level of like consolidated reporting, think SIFT reporting or Fathom reporting, times it by about 10, and that's the level you can kind of get, like, just for amazing amounts of integration of data and trend analysis. And the other one, we went deep into Odoo, again, out of Belgium. That's how we got onto Hemisphere. It's a real competitor in that mid-market, kind of it will compete with NetSuite. It will compete with Maya Acumatica and those types of things, but it's a really good product. It's cloud-based. They've almost got their bank feeds as good as you can kind of get, but like that's their next step, is to get Australian bank feeds humming. It's a good product.
How about you jump and mention data sites? You've got that on the list as well.
Yeah. Data sites consolidations have developed the first consolidation app that makes sure that the balance sheet balances. And this just warms my soul. So data sites came out of like an extraction. They used to extract data. Some of their biggest clients are like Yeti. They pulled data out of the SN7 and then help them visualize those on, whatever data source they use, Power BI. But they've always been extracting data out of Xero. And they've created consolidations that auto match, but if your intercompany balances don't balance, they make sure your balance sheet balances. So that's been really cool to see them. There's still a bit of work to go on some of the user interface, but like their debit credit accounting is like A grade. So I've loved to watch that.
So are we talking about data sites based out of Brisbane?
Yep, 100%.
Okay. And they've got Yeti as a client.
Yeti's their biggest client. Like, it's on their website, so I'm not giving away any hidden information. But all Yeti stock runs through data site secured
Fantastic.
services.
Well, that's impressive. So the founder of Data Sites is Kevin Wigan. He's just the loveliest of guys. And his slogan is, "Life's too short to export CSVs."
It's good. Kevin's a programmer, I think, and he's got a passion for simplified solutions.
He is so passionate about data and about what he does there. And if you kind of you spend any time with him, it's all he can talk about is he's very, very passionate about it.
Absolutely. I demoed it to a client yesterday that's got 25 entities, and I was like, I reckon I could have you consolidated, by the end of the day if you gave me access. And she was like, what? She was like, my consolidation takes me like almost 2 days to do at month end. And I was like, you can automate this. And like knowing now that the balance sheet will balance and that your financial reports will balance is just warming to my soul as an accountant.
Absolutely. It's interesting, Tyler, because you do manage to jump around a lot of different apps. Like a lot of times we say, if you're dealing with the overload, just work out a stack and work with the stack. But you just go.
I try to, and because every app suits every different client. Like there's no kind of one app that suits everything, and there's different price points as well. Like Pinch, we just put it in Pinch Payments because it fit this client's card and direct debit needs, where some clients we just go straight with Stripe because they only wanted cards.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me mention one app that a friend of mine in the US called Michael Lai, who probably a lot of people are aware of, contacted me and he said, hey, can you meet with this guy? And I did. And his solution was Combinely.ai. Okay, so Combinely.ai. And what it does is it sits across your email. So it will sit across Carbon or however you're doing your email systems, and it uses AI to study all of your communication and support within the business, and how it's hitting the clients. And it's going to surface things to identify client satisfaction, profitability, and growth. So you need about 15 people in the firm for it to really work. And what it's going to do, for example, it's going to, you as the manager will have it surface that the client's words are coming back, that they're slightly unhappy or unsatisfied with something. So you are notified that perhaps you need to jump in and involve yourself in that relationship or do something there. It will also surface things like they probably will take fries with this. Do you want to suggest that to them? So it will actually come and suggest other add-on solutions around what they're talking about. So you can add additional services there. So really interesting concept. And that's what AI and the natural language and large language models should be good at doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is
That's
that exciting?
phenomenal. I mean, I'm not an accounting firm, but I want that. Like, you know, it gets every now and then, like we get projects that I'm not involved in, you know, like my business partner happily kicks me out of one or two, after he's kind of taken over. But it's like you, as a partner, you want to know that things are going well and the client's happy, and you can't. Yeah, this is you've got like. I don't love reading people's emails. I like having trust though as well.
You're not reading their emails. You're reading sentiment and surfacing issues. So you're surfacing words.
Yeah.
You're surfacing tone. You're surfacing tone, and it may be that you deal directly with the employee, your staff member, and say, okay, look, do you need work on your empathy or something like that?
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
That's good. I like that, and I think that's the benefits. Like we want to see is like if a client's unhappy, like I'm not chasing money. I just want to make sure that like they're having a good system transition. And can I help? What's going right? What's going wrong? Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So the guy's name is Tom Inverness. So I'll make an introduction for you, and other people can check that one out. So hopefully we've shared a lot of different apps, features, functions, technology there that people can jump in and check out. If you didn't hear something that if you think we should have talked about your app and we didn't, please send me your blog posts. Please send me a link to your blog post, and I will make sure it feeds into my database, and I will manage it and I'll monitor it, okay? Active RSS feeds on your blog post, please. So coming up, we are both speaking. We're going to see each other in real life in Melbourne on the 27th of November. We're speaking at Access All Areas. You looking forward to that?
Yeah, that's
Were you
great.
aware of that?
Yeah, 100% am. The SP is like I lived in Melbourne for 10 years, and the SP was like my pub. It was just around the road. It's a fantastic location, and I'm just a big fan of what Change GPS do in the market. Like they've got very few competitors, and I really appreciate the way the Access Group is trying to lead the innovation in the accounting market. So I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So please, there'll be a link. Come and join us at Access All Areas in Melbourne on the 27th of November. I'm also speaking at the Institute of Certified Bookkeepers Australian Bookkeepers Summit in Brisbane on the 11th of 12th of November. I'm very much looking forward to that. That will be my first time speaking at their summit. Anything else happening in your world towards the end of the year?
Yeah, I'm traveling to Adelaide, Perth, and Brisbane with Xero to help with some of their multi-entity presentations. Just talking about how easy it is to run multi-entities inside Xero, plus the apps like Mayday and DataSites and Fathom and Join and all that. And yeah, we're just really trying to stay in touch with like everything that's kind of happening in the market at the moment is our next play. Like our business, since our largest project's kind of coming to an end, we are kind of going back into like training modules, which is really cool. And we're developing a little bit of tech as well, which is, really exciting to happen next.
Oh, well, that sounds very exciting. I look forward to hearing more about it. And also, you are leading up to the end of the year, so hopefully it kind of is a nice place to have a big long rest before 2025 starts. So
absolutely. I know we've gone a little bit longer, but I think for a 3 to 4 month coverage, I think we nailed this. So if anyone's still listening, good job. I hope you guys,
well done.
got some value.
So thank you so much, Tyler, for joining me on the show today. I can encourage everyone who is listening to connect with Tyler Caskey on LinkedIn, connect with me, Heather Smith, on LinkedIn, and I hope you enjoy the show.
Thank you.